Okay, we don't need any more countdown. Mea culpa. Everybody's been contacting me and saying the sound went, Bob. We couldn't hear you. Some people probably celebrated that. But you can see what happened. I had a look back and, yep, the sound went just as I threw a piece of paper over here and it yanked the microphone cord out. So that's why you saw me doing the, is it Marcel Marceau or whatever it is, not saying anything. So look, I'm just going to go back to those stories that we were covering. So we just talked about DEI, and just so you can hear the audio on this. So I did start talking just about this show that's happening. Radio New Zealand, if you want to know where your taxpayer funding is going, it's going to Radio New Zealand, and they are funding, or they have been interviewing as part of their programming, someone who's appearing at a New Zealand International Comedy Festival. They're a burlesque performer, apparently, transgender, so it's a dude pretending to be a girl, and it's called bottom surgery. Now, for those who don't know, bottom surgery is when a dude gets their junk cut off. Don't even think about it. Will make your eyes water. But they say that the title is the title is no joke. Apparently, it's through performance. The performer, the guy, wants to find a way to introduce others to the complexities of the transgender experience today, and what she describes as the wins, losses, and absurdities of it's his journey navigating gender affirmative surgery. And he's calling for more accessible trans healthcare in New Zealand. I thought the interesting use of the word, the wins, losses, and absurdities of the journey. But one thing I did find very funny is the fact that when you go to register for this, and of course the show's about accessible trans healthcare, accessible. The problem is, down the bottom there, you'll see that, unfortunately, where they're holding the show, it's not fully accessible and it has limited mobility. So it actually is discriminating against lesser abled people. Oops, that's not very woke, isn't it? So in a show that's complaining about discrimination, they're discriminating because people don't have full access, which I found slightly ironic. In the Washington Post earlier this week, so President Trump commissioned a report on gender trans surgeries of kids and chemicalization and castration of vulnerable young children. And the report came out and said, not good enough. There hasn't been good research. This is a huge social experiment on kids. More research is needed. And the Washington Post, knocked me over with a feather, actually said it's a good report and it raises valid concerns. So the tide is certainly turning on that one. On the good news front, the Trump administration has fully implemented the defunding of the UN FBA. So it's the pro-abortion agency as part of the UN. It's called population control, which is code word for abortion. And of course, it's linked to Planned Parenthood, which is also being looked at being defunded by Republicans as we speak. So these pro-abortion agencies are really under the pump. And of course, there's a connection here to New Zealand with family planning, although they're called another name now. What is it? Something health, sexual health Aotearoa. So be careful. Family planning are now operating under a sneaky name, sexual health Aotearoa, I think it is. But $335 million of taxpayer funding from the Americans towards this agency just pulled like that, and that is a great decision. Interesting report by some Australian researchers from an agency, a think tank called the Henry Jackson Society, and they say that while the professors state that they do not doubt that a large number of civilians have tragically lost their lives through the Hamas war, the researchers question the integrity of Hamas data due to many anomalies. Yes, there are many anomalies, but the media never ask about those anomalies or do some fact checks. For example, many Hamas leaders are not included on the list of casualties. Approximately 45% of all Gazan deaths are actually legal fighting age males. And also a significant additional component as child casualties were male underage combatants. So it's under 18, but they were combatants. These statistics signal that over the whole war across all Gaza, the IDF sought to avoid civilians and that harm to civilians was far less than Hamas alleged publicly. That's the interesting thing. The media have depended on statistics from a terrorist group and relied on those as though they are factual, but this report calls that into question. And just this interesting story. So a couple of weeks ago, last week, I did a McBlog about a Liverpool player who celebrated a goal, took off his shirt and revealed a shirt underneath that said, "I belong to Jesus." And he was told off by the Football Association in the UK. But at the same time, the Football Association have no problem with telling players to wear rainbow armbands and rainbow laces and lots of virtue signalling and woke endorsement of LGBTQ. So, it's kind of the hypocrisy. But a leading human rights lawyer is actually taking the FA to court, the Football Association, because they're saying, well, it's not politically impartial. You say that you can't have the name Jesus, but you can have the rainbow armband. I mean, it's quite obvious that the Football Association are being a bunch of hypocrites. But the interesting part about this story is that the case is being taken on behalf of a lesbian female football fan from Newcastle. And she was accused of holding gender-critical views, a TERF, so to speak. In other words, believes in biology, believes that a woman is a woman and only a woman can be a woman. She was later banned from matches. She was banned from matches over social media posts that were deemed transphobic after an alleged spying investigation by the Premier League. Yep. And so that case is going to court. It's a fascinating one, and it just shows the hypocrisy of the woke. How on one hand they can say, no, you can't be political, you can't say the word Jesus, but here's a rainbow armband to wear. It's the same kind of rank hypocrisy that we're seeing from the media on this whole use of the C word, and saying, shouting about misogynistic abuse against female MPs. And we should be against all abuse against any MP, all MPs, including female MPs. But they shout that they're against that, but then one of their own female journalists calls a female MP the C word, and the media says, nothing to see here. The hypocrisy is quite special, isn't it? Right, did we make it to the end with the sound on? Yes, we did. Fantastic. Tomorrow morning, Simon will remember to turn his microphone on. So this is like 2 daybreaks in one day. I hope you recover. Tomorrow morning, Simon will be back with a bit more thoughtful insight with solid ground. And tomorrow night, political playback, Simon and I will discuss some of the politics of the week and plenty to talk about. Anyway, glad I made it to the end with sound. Apologies. I will watch the cord next time. Have a great day.